Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to my panels. My name is Ahmad Izzuddin bin Razak, and so for this presentation I would like to present my final year project, which title is Study of Fatigue Behavior on Thixoformed Aluminium Alloy After T6 Heat Treatment. So my supervisor is Encik Ahmad bin Abdul Rahman. I would like to start with the introduction. As introduction, the aluminium alloy has been used for many years due to their small density, corrosion resistance, and high machinability. With the growing demand for components based on high integrity aluminium alloy under repetitive cyclic loading, has focused significant attention on the fatigue properties of aluminium alloy. But there is a problem in the department of fatigue, where basically it is heavily affected, the fatigue performance heavily affected by microstructural defect. This microstructural defect that influence the fatigue performance can be reduced through better processes such as Thixoforming process. For the problem statement, the engine piston and cylinder head are constantly subjected to rapid cyclic loading and fluctuation of temperature in the combustion chamber, such as piston, diesel engine, and compressor. Hence, these components are prone to fatigue failure. The fatigue behavior of the A356 alloy shows that microstructural defects such as casting porosity lead to the low fatigue life. This microstructural mechanical properties is an important factor for microstructural fractures determination, considering the realistic physical. In order to increase the microstructural mechanical properties, Thixoforming technique is used in this research technology. My objective for this research is to analyze fatigue improvement of aluminium A356 between Thixoform and casting process. Second is to evaluate the enhancement of T6 heat treatment on the fatigue performance and the microstructural of A356. And the third objective is to identify the optimum parameter for producing the heat-treated Thixoformed A356. For my scope in this research is first, the A356 is the main specimen material. The second is for Thixoforming process, I use mechanical stirring method. And for fatigue testing, the machine that I use is axial torsion servo-hydraulic Shimadzu. And lastly is A356 is performed with T6 heat treatment. As a literature review, the part of literature review is to identify the research article before I proceed with my research. So the several article that I read is effect of temperature on the fatigue cracking mechanism in A356 aluminium alloy. This article was published in 2020. From this article, the experiment has been held at room temperature and has been held at room temperature 150 degrees Celsius and 250 degrees Celsius using a cast A356 aluminium alloy. By increasing the temperature, fatigue crack initiation from transgranular at room temperature to intergranular at elevated temperature. Second is the effect of microstructure and casting defect on the fatigue behavior of the high pressure die cast. This article was published in 2017, where the uniaxial fatigue tests were performed at load control with a frequency of 50 Hz and with a stress amplitude of 80 megapascal. The fatigue crack initiated at one of the section sharp corners, and it seemed that the crack initiated from the single side. So after that is the article that I read for this research is effect of aluminium addition on characteristic of aluminium for copper for magnesium composite produced by Thixoforming process. This article was published in 2019, where the Thixoformed composite have better mechanical properties such as decreased porosity, high hardness, and wear resistant compared to steel cast composite. Lastly, an overview of semi-solid processing of aluminium alloy. This article was published at 2012. The magnetohydrodynamic (MHD) stirring is most popular feedstock technique because it can increase tensile and yield strength. So for methodology and study flowchart is, firstly I start with the problem and objective identification. After I have identified the problem and objective, I go to the journal and article research. From this journal and article research, I research more on the method of casting and Thixoforming process, and also the fatigue testing. After that is after done the journal research, I set up the experiment and prepare for the specimen for identify the result. So after the specimen preparation, I will undergo the specimen to the fatigue testing, and after that I analyze the correlation with this study. After that, I will get the result, and if yes, I will proceed to the conclusion, and if no, I will repeat to the step of specimen preparation until I get the best result. So for the process flow chart, this process flow chart is for the experiment that I will do. So first, by using the A356 aluminum alloy, I started with design of experiment. After that, I will go to the casting process and Thixoforming process. After done this process, I go to the microstructure investigation to investigate the microstructure of casting and Thixoforming specimen by using optical microscopy and SEM EDX. Besides that, I will also do the T6 heat treatment on this specimen by using Neodymium furnace. And lastly, with this specimen, I also use to test their fatigue properties or fatigue performance using axial torsion servo-hydraulic Shimadzu. So this is my testing machine, which I would investigate their microstructure and fatigue testing, which is optical microscopy and scanning electron microscopy SEM EDX for the microstructure effect, and the axial torsion servo-hydraulic Shimadzu is for the fatigue testing. Okay, so that's all for my presentation. Thank you.